Do you speak crowdlending? Welcome to our podcast covering the crowdlending industry. Our mission is to provide you with all the insights from this market and help you make informed decisions. I'm Gassen, co-founder and CEO of Acredius. We are a crowdlending platform based in Zurich, Switzerland. I'm delighted to host this podcast and hopefully bring value to all our listeners. Hi everyone, welcome to Do You Speak Crowdlending? This is episode number 9 and I'm very happy today to welcome Evita Lune, partner, global head of FinTech practice at Pedersen and Partners. Evita is actually recognized by Forbes as one of the top 25 most influential women in Latvia for 2 years in a row. Congrats, Evita, for that. Welcome to this Do You Speak Crowdlending podcast, and please tell us more about yourself.
Thank you so much, Gassen, for having me. Hi, everyone. I'm a partner at Pedersen and Partners, which is an executive search company with a unique focus on emerging markets. So we have business in 50 countries, and what's so special about us is that we are very big in Southeast Asia, Latin America, Middle East, and Africa. And the rest is probably, in terms of geography, similar to the others. And I'm a co-owner of this company at a group level. So I own a share in 50 smaller companies all around the world. And since a couple of years now, I focus on FinTech as my core expertise and interest. So I work with clients like online lenders, marketplaces, crowdfunding platforms, challenger banks, merchant acquirers, and so on. So these are all modern and new companies. And I'm 15 years in this business, and I have completed totally about 400 executive search assignments during the last year. So these have been only FinTech assignments. I would say like about 125 senior FinTech assignments. Mm-hmm. And exactly for FinTech, this has been in more than 40 countries. So that's my brief exposure to FinTech and including crowdlending a little bit.
Wow, that's great. So why FinTech? What made you choose this industry?
Yes, I think that you can be successful if you work with people and companies where you have a good match of values. So, and I found that this challenger approach, this thinking outside the box, daring, experimenting, disrupting what has been in the past, focusing on self-development, using the latest technologies that are available. So these values click with me very well. Also, being many years in the business, I got tired of too much of corporate behaviors that are required if you work with large corporations as a provider of services. And with FinTechs, you can behave authentic. And I got a lot of inspiration from entrepreneurs who have a vision, who really are determined to achieve something, and many have such creative and innovative ideas that are definitely very inspirational. And I see that I am taking part in something big, something that didn't exist before, like improving liquidity when we are talking about crowdlending or generally like financing. So things are changing, giving access to people that didn't have such services before. Some clients are involving unbanked populations. So it's a nice mission to be associated with.
Okay, so you're basically driven by the mission of FinTech and crowdlending in general. So that's, if I summarize it, that's what made you also be interested in crowdlending, right?
Yes. And it's this mission opportunity and also the cultural match with FinTech entrepreneurs, which is close to me rather than large corps.
Excellent. So speaking of about crowdlending, so how is the crowdlending landscape in the Baltic region?
Yes, so the Baltics is very proud with some really interesting developments. For example, we have Mintos, which is one of the largest crowdfunding platforms in continental Europe. So after some big platforms in the UK, in terms of volume, in terms of reach and scope, Mintos is the largest one. And the company is only 4 years old, and it's based in Riga.
You need to give us more insights on that part now.
Yes. So by now they have serviced, in terms of total volume, $3 billion. So during these 4 or 5 years since their inception. So that's, I would say, fantastic result for a young startup from Latvia. And they, of course, focus on accepting investment from Western Europe and other affluent markets, and onboarding loan originators from all around the world. And of course, many of them are focusing subprime loans, and so these are from emerging markets. So it's a very interesting venture which connects lenders with the borrowers. And it's, being from Riga, where we don't have either extremes of those, so either many investors or so many borrowers. We are like in middle income or middle higher income, but still that you can make such venture from Riga. And then we also have Vino, which is also among the biggest ones in continental Europe. They don't plug in other loan originators in their platform, but they service their own loan book. And then, for instance, in Estonia, there are very strong sites, such as Estate Guru, Crowd Estate, Bondora. So they have all serviced they are all servicing like tens of millions every year. So 25 million, 40 million, 50 million of investors' money. So these are sizable platforms for a small place like Baltics.
But in your opinion, what made that region be very attractive to investors, so to make these numbers? I mean, how?
Yes. So first of all, similar to Nordics, also Baltic states, we are very digitally savvy. So we have digital signature. You can do lots of business without leaving your room. So everything is possible online. So it's a natural place for making such new developments from entrepreneurs' perspective. And then our main weakness, obviously, in the Baltic states, that we are extremely small. So there are only 2 million inhabitants in Latvia, and 1.5 in Estonia, and 2.5 or 3 in Lithuania. So this is a very small region. And therefore, if you want to make a company, you cannot design a business model servicing only 5-6 million people. So the investment will never be justified. So when you design a business model, you automatically make it international. So that's even when I sometimes participate as a mentor in some incubators and accelerators, there's this very strong push and clear message that if you want to make a tech business out of the Baltics, it must be international. So it is in the inception of all these platforms that they should reach volumes, and these are impossible to reach by staying in local markets. And if you open up, then you are as big as the world will see you, thanks to digital capabilities.
Okay, so I would summarize it. Maybe is it like you guys out there are very, very digital savvy. You're used to technology, so it makes it, and you have to go international. So this makes you kind of attractive to investors and crowdlending in general, or is it? Yeah. So is it right what I'm saying, or do you have more input on that side?
Yes, and of course we can continue that in the Baltics. People are extremely well educated, so most of people have higher education, and you have very good schools where you have young leaders graduating with excellent knowledge in technology and mathematics. So it's a good place to be like a hub for FinTech startups. And they are all educated, so we all speak 3 languages, each ethnical language, and then 2 foreign languages at least. And plus with all these countries being small and open, this is a good platform to do international business. Otherwise, you have no choice. You can, of course, go into some farming activity or knitting or something like this. But if you want to do some business and make interesting career, you better make it international from the Baltics.
That's clear. That's clear. So coming back to crowdlending, how is the current crisis? So in perspective, we are today on May 26, 2020. How is the current crisis, the COVID-19 crisis, affecting crowdlending market?
Yes, so definitely it's a very good question, because COVID is something which none of us has ever seen before, and so luckily we can see kind of an end of it, but crowdfunding has been affected in two major ways. So first is negative, that obviously lots of investors are panicking and pulling out money. So therefore, even the good platforms have to make some adjustments. They have to lay off people. They have to be very careful with the loan originators that are connected to the platform, because of course the loan books are affected negative. If we are talking about subprime lending especially, and then what was near prime may become now subprime, and what was subprime may become very poor loan book. And the first reaction of investors has been rather that they want to sell whatever they have or take out money. So that's negative. Now the situation has been stabilized, and most of platforms have adjusted their operating models to new situation. So after this series of layoffs and cost cutting, they continue the business, and the life is going on, probably not with such exponential growth as it was before, but the business continues. So I would say that's like first a negative effect, and then we also had some I would say positive effect, which we can continue later to discuss, but there have been some platforms which have been shut down because they were not professional, or they had some unjustified business models. So we had at least 3 in the Baltics from the total ecosystem, which don't exist anymore, and that was due to COVID situation.
Great. Thank you for these insights. Now, if we get back, so let's put ourselves in the shoes of a beginner investor that is interested in this asset class, so crowdlending. What would be your main advice to this kind of investor?
Yes, so for sure, these platforms that we are discussing are run by entrepreneurs. So my first suggestion would be not to look too much in marketing, but rather than who runs this platform. I would look carefully whom I trust my money, who is owner, and who are top leaders. So it's not bad to know. And we have also seen during this crisis that some of the platforms are very professional in marketing, that you are excited about the project, you like commercial, and you are passionate to invest. I would be careful, because anyone can hire a great marketing company and make a nice campaign about the project. I would look on rather the underwriting approach, whether they have professional people. If we are talking about, for instance, SME financing or real estate financing, especially like real estate. So whether these are real estate professionals on the ground, and who they are and how they underwrite these projects. For consumer lending, obviously the machines underwrite projects. So then I would look at, again, professionals. If I can't find who are their top leaders, who is their chief risk officer, and things like that, if they hide it, then I would be, of course, careful with investment.
Great.
I also want to raise this point.
Yes, please.
I have obviously participated in various interesting groups in social media, and Facebook and Telegram, and lots of chats and so on. And I also attended and heard your previous podcasts about diversification.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting argument, because of course, we all know that if you have investments, you don't put all eggs in one basket. That's basic principle. And of course, I would allocate only part of my extra money to crowdfunding.
Yeah.
But also within that, I have heard arguments that if you know that there is like one or two good platforms in the market, then better keep your monies there rather than split and diversify, leaving some part, small part with one or two platforms, but then diversifying and investing in bad platforms just because of diversification. So that is something which has to be applied with a certain care in crowdlending. It's not such a straightforward application that I would just split between 10 different platforms, but if only one is credible, so why to split them? So that's one interesting argument about how to invest.
Really interesting point. So diversify, but focus.
Yes. And there are, of course, plenty of bloggers who analyze, and you can also, if there is something suspicious, then just don't invest for the sake of diversification. Also, when it comes to SME and real estate financing, I would look carefully if owner doesn't have a conflict of interest, that owner invites, I have objective crowdlending platform, these are fantastic projects, and I have created this great vehicle for liquidity, and then you start analyzing, and then you realize that these projects are very much associated with the owner himself or herself. So that's a conflict of interest. You don't organize a stock exchange where you are trading and put all of your companies on the trading list, but that is still what some of crowdfunding owners are doing. So I would try to look into this matter as well.
Great. That's really great advice. So we're about to finish here. What would be the main advantages of this asset class from an investor perspective, in your opinion?
Yes, so definitely it is, from investor perspective, it is direct decision-making and complete freedom and liberty to invest wherever I want. In international markets, for example, we have in the Baltic platforms, we have so many investors from Germany, from Netherlands, from United States. So it just enables this international liquidity of capital. So that's very attractive. And of course, we know that in Europe, deposit rates are so low and sometimes even negative. So there is a lot of money sleeping in bank accounts or under the bed, wherever people keep their money, who knows. So it's a nice opportunity to let money work. And also, of course, lots of people are seeing it as a short-term exposure to make extra money as a side income, to feel a little bit of entrepreneurial spirit and experiment with this new tool. So of course I wouldn't ever suggest to sell everything and put on crowdlending unless this is your mission and you want to make a new company yourself. But as investor, I would of course see it as great opportunity to make your money work, which is sometimes difficult if you don't have this vehicle.
Excellent. Thank you very much also for these insights. We come down to our last question, which is a little bit, it's very related to crowdlending, which is we are really interested here in knowing what's your favorite fruit.
Yes, so probably lots of people are coming with a list of very exotic and unknown and special fruit, but I will, as being in FinTech, I will give you an authentic and honest answer that I like wild apples from my parents' garden.
Wow, that's fine too. wild apples from your parents' garden. This is very, very specific. So thank you very much for sharing. Apples, what they say, one apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? So it's still good advice. So, Evita, anything you want to add?
Well, I want to definitely praise you for starting a company, and I wish you and the whole industry great success. I believe that there are international reports and forecasts which say that this will be exponentially growing industry. So I believe that you guys are on the right path. So good luck to you and to your companions and followers. So all the best.
Thank you very much, Evita. Thanks a lot for being part of this podcast and for sharing your insights. So thank you everyone for listening to us, and goodbye. See you next time.
Bye. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks again for staying with us until the end. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media so you never miss an episode. Please don't hesitate to send us your questions and comments at egregious.ch. Thank you.